been working hard.
You?
Yeah, I've been in the backyard, painted. You should see it. You're gonna love it.
Guys, this is Richard.
Hello.
We're back from the Consumptions. He is my uncle. That's not my uncle. That's my uncle. We'll call it that way. We'll say that.
You know what I did? You know the railing in the back that was all kinds of flimsy, that handrail?
Okay, yes.
So I took it all apart.
The one as soon as you go out
Yeah, so you go.
and you see it straight in front of you.
Yeah.
Okay, 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 okay. Okay, got
Well,
it.
it was all flimsy and stuff because I didn't do a very good job the first time around. So I took it all apart and re-drilled it, anchored it, drilled holes in the concrete, all that stuff with anchors in, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, okay.
Then I painted it.
What
two
color?
different colors.
Okay.
And the tables are really interesting.
Tables?
Yeah, these tables that I had there that my son gave me when he moved to Verde. He said, "You want these? Because I'm going to chuck them." I said, "Yeah, give them to me." I put them out on the deck. Well, I first gave them to me. I stained them and then I polyurethane them. But that was a few years back. So now what I did was I went into the garage and whatever paint I had, that's what I used.
Okay.
So, one like plant stand is black. The other one is this dark. We went to Habitat for Humanity and got, which is if you need paint, that's the place to go.
Habitat for Humanity?
Yeah, because you can get really good paint. Like the house, all that paint came from Habitat for Humanity.
Like grandma's house or y'all's house?
Yeah, both of them. I forget which ones. We went there
Thank you. The whole project.
7 days.
Okay.
And then I decided, well, I got to paint the purple because everything else is painted. It looks pretty cool. So I painted that color. It's a dark brown. It kind of almost looks black. But
Like an espresso?
Yeah, it's like.
See, I like that color. That's the color that I did on my vinyls, the espresso.
Yeah.
I like it.
So that matches the handrail on the top. Well, no, the spokes of the handrail. And then it's like this green color. I wanted like an emerald green. But when I got back, went to Lowe's and bought a quart of this paint because it's exterior paint and it's semi-gloss. $30 for a quart. Paint. Yeah, the Habitat Humanity paint, it has a 5-year guarantee, was $19.99 a gallon.
Wow, a gallon.
Yeah. The original paint that I put on the pergola, right, was $40 a gallon, guaranteed for 10 years. But that one side that gets the afternoon sun, like all afternoon, needed to be painted. So I looked up there because I want these guys that I play poker with. They have badass backyards.
Okay. Let's talk about this. Who are these people and how did you meet them?
Okay.
Okay, but anyways, he's I guess got a poker club.
Yeah, well, we try to play poker at least once a month.
Okay, so he's gonna kind of talk to us about how he got into that and how he knows these people because I had no idea he did this. So very interesting.
All right, so let me give you some background. When I was a little kid, my dad, who liked to hang out at bars, knew how to play poker. So when I was little, he taught me and my brother how to play poker, like 5-card stuff. So I always liked the game. And as I got older, growing up in my teenage years, the guys I hung out with, we would play poker. Once I moved to Texas, I met this guy, Rick. This is 1980. He worked at Ziegler Glass Company, and that was the only place that would hire me. So anyway, that's how I met him. So we hung out together, and he was my very first friend in Texas. And then in
When did you get here in Texas? How old were you?
1980, I was 20, and he was maybe about 5 years younger. So anyway, he was about 21. I was 26, and we met at Ziegler Glass, and we became friends because. Hey, I was from back east and nobody wanted to be my friend except for him. So anyway, we kind of separated. He did his own thing and I went to do high-rise glass work and got into the union in Austin. And we unionized a company here in 1982 called Our Glass Company. We won the election by 1 vote. Anyway, so, we went our separate ways. We didn't see each other because we didn't work together. Okay. And he went in the Navy in, I want to say 1988. He went in the Navy. And I was already married then and doing high rise construction. So he joined the Navy in 1988, and he he came over to the house one day. Somehow he found out where I was living, and he came over to the house. That was like 30 years ago. And he was had a fiance, Magda, and she was from Mexico. And he, to his credit, learned Spanish. And there's that, but then we lost track of each other. So for like 30 years, we never saw each other. So all my kids, I have three sons. They're all old men now, pretty much. And they all played soccer. They played Division One youth soccer. They were 4 years apart. So we traveled, my ex-wife and I, we traveled all over the state of Texas for 18 years playing youth soccer, right? And so when San Antonio got a professional soccer team, I went to a few games. Now, my oldest son, John, who's still plays, he's 42, he's going to be 43 in July. He still plays.
Okay, he still plays?
Yes, he still plays soccer.
Wow.
And he coaches. He's a really good coach. He's been coaching for years. He coaches two teams, like ages 10 and 2013, year 2013, 2015 age group. So once San Antonio got a professional team, he got season tickets. So he's been a season ticket holder for 10 years. They just celebrated the 10th anniversary. Right? So, you know, he would take me to the games that his wife didn't want to go. He had two seats and this and that. So I fell in love with soccer through them. I didn't know anything about soccer until they started playing. They started playing when they were 5 years old.
Is that the first sport you ever put them in? Was
Yes.
soccer?
Yeah. And
I think that's a good sport to like start kids in soccer.
it's a great sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, it's running
Yeah.
minutes.
And it's just go, go.
Yeah,
Go,
let's go.
do
And,
with your
and,
hands. Yeah.
and, you know, it's sad that, you know, people who don't know the game dismiss it as being boring.
Mhm.
It is far from being boring. You know what I mean? It's very exciting. All the execution, the goals, all that. It's just great. So anyway, so one day we went to the tailgate before the game. But the thing about the crazy part about it is that I was thinking about this guy for 2 weeks before we went to that game. So we go to the tailgate and I'm walking around with my son and I hear, "Hey, Richie." And I turned around and it was him, Rick. I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Oh my God." And, you know, so we hugged each other and this and that. And I was telling him, you know, you've been out of my mind for 2 weeks.
When was this? A couple years ago?
Yeah, this was like maybe 3 years ago.
Okay.
And you know, and it was crazy because he doesn't have season tickets and he just went to the tailgate, say, and he just happened to, just to be there. It was like it was meant to happen,
Yeah.
And so anyway, the way I got into this poker group was through him. Some of the guys live in his neighborhood, and there might be one guy from his church. I'm not sure. And so we tried to play. Now, being a poker lover all my life, I play with my wife, my current wife's family. And it was great. On Thanksgiving, we played at 2 o'clock in the morning on Thanksgiving, right? You play.
Yeah, he is correct.
And, and every chance we got. So I don't want to go into why I don't play with them anymore.
Don't play. We're just,
They're-
we do things our way, I guess.
Well, here's the thing. Poker has certain rules, like soccer or baseball or football. There's certain rules,
Yeah.
And and one of the rules is, why would you have two wild cards in a 5-card game? That's kind of, I don't know. I don't get it. But your uncle, your dad he's a wild card man. Everything's a wild card. So it got kind of crazy, but I play. Every once in a while I get pissed off and, I go ahead, I'm not doing this. So anyway.
That's family.
Yeah. But anyway, it's all in good fun.
Yeah.
And we don't play for like hundreds of dollars. It's like $20.
Yeah.
Throw in $20, and I'm the type of person, I lose $20, I'm out of there. So, but I played in games where, when I used to go to the Chefs Association, I would play with people I didn't even know. And we would play some really good games. And it was for more money than $20.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
Yeah.
you did that. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I would play with some of the old time chefs from Dallas and,
Mhm.
and Houston and this or that. But, at the convention, there would be 2 hotel rooms with people playing poker.
That's actually, I think that's super cool. Like, I want to be a part of something like that one time. Like one time in my life, I want to be a part of that. Like, hey, let's play poker. Because some of my friends from volleyball, they have poker leagues and they're in it, and they like my friend Blake. Shout out Blake. He has like I guess his dad's building, and sometimes he'll invite us, and they'll be playing like same thing, like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. They're still playing, and I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, this is very interesting.
People I play with now, they're not, 11 o'clock.
Right.
They're all like, hey, it's
It's
so
time.
And the
Right.
crazy thing about it, the first time I played, so I met these guys through Rick. And the first time they invited me to the game, because Rick told me that they play poker like maybe once a month or whatever. And I
Yeah.
said, well, hell, I love poker. So he invited me, and I show up at the game, and I take out my $20 bill, and they're all looking at me. He's like, man, we don't play for paper money. We play with nickels, dimes, and quarters. I'm going, no, that's crazy. No, we play with change. And the funny thing about these guys is they're all great guys.
So how many people did you meet in this group? Like 5?
It's like I've met probably 6 or 7.
Oh, so y'all have a pretty good group going.
Yeah, we usually have 6 guys at least.
Oh, okay.
playing. So last month, one of the guys, this guy John, listen, there's 2 Johns, okay, and there's 3 Dicks. I'm the third Dick. So it says Dick number 1, Dick number 2, and being, I'm the last guy in, I'm Dick number 3. Because we're all named Richard.
That's so funny.
It's 2 Johns and 3 Richards I play. And then whoever else.
Man, y'all really make that statistic. Y'all got 3 of y'all there. That's great.
So I take out my $20, and these guys are like, I don't know, we play with change. And I was shocked because they don't even use chips. But the funny thing about it is, between all hands, they start yakking. And they wonder why they were going like, man, the games are so slow and this and that. Well, you play with chips a lot faster than having to count nickels, dimes, and quarters. That's the way they play. So I said, well, okay. I tried to convince them for probably several hours texting to play with chips. For some reason or other, they think if they play with chips, they're going to spend more money.
And y'all have like a group chat going on? And y'all say like, hey, let's meet up at Richie's house, and let's meet up at Ben's house.
Yeah, I'm hosting the game Friday. It's my first time hosting. So when you host a game with these guys, you got to supply food.
Okay, so tell us about the food. What are you gonna do?
Okay, what I'm going to do is recipe. It's called lasagna soup.
I've had that before, right? You cooked that before, and I went and tried it.
Well, I don't know, because you're a vegetarian.
Oh, that's right.
So this has sausage and
Oh,
ground-
but I think I did try one, and you split it off, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think-
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you made bread with it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do the lasagna soup, but I make it where it's not soupy. I like it more like stew.
Okay. Yeah. I agree.
So it's an Italian sausage, ground beef, onions, and you can either use jar marinara, chicken stock. So I make my own marinara, and I add it in, and try to get it to portion. But the thing about it is, like the lasagna, I don't use the lasagna noodles. I use like bow tie. So it's like a twice cooked
Mhm.
noodle, because you boil it, cook it till al dente, and then you toss it in butter, and I air fry it and air fry it till the edges get crispy. So they're basically on. You have to like re-cook them again.
How did you learn that to put them in the air fryer? It's just something you thought about. Let me do this, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, because they say stick it in the oven.
So you
Yeah.
thought, okay, let me just do air fryer.
Yeah, just put it in air fry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it.
That sounds
Uh,
super good. Save me. Are you gonna do bread with it? What are you gonna do?
yeah. Okay. So I was working on the yard. I was telling you that.
Okay.
Finished painting yesterday.
Okay.
All right. So today, I go try the lights. No lights. Now I'm gonna have to search for lights to string and
Right. So he's searching for lights for the poker, like they're
Yeah,
playing
he's gonna,
poker
we're
outside.
gonna play outside on that deck in the back.
It's mosquito season. You have stuff for the mosquitoes? How's the rosemary? Is it?
The rosemary's growing good.
It's beautiful.
Is it pretty comfortable?
Yeah.
Good. All right.
Back to the story.
Back to the story.
So I'm gonna make honey whole wheat bread and milk brioche buns. I made bagels on Monday, but they're not getting any. They're not getting any of my bagels.
How are the bagels coming along?
Man, they're awesome.
You're making your own recipes now? Or no?
Well, I found a recipe online and I use it and it's good.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, you see that they're better than what you realize.
Hey, then I gotta come because that one was pretty good. That batch was pretty good.
Yeah, it's all in the kneading.
Yeah.
Gotta knead it dough by hand.
Okay, so tell me, when you met your friend at that football or that soccer place, and you thought, what a coincidence. Do you think about God? Like, are you religious in that aspect?
But it was a crazy day because meeting him that day, a guy I haven't seen in probably 25 years or so,
And
maybe
thinking
30.
about it? Yeah.
And thinking about him for 2 weeks prior to meeting him. The same day, actually in the stadium, my youngest son's youth soccer coach, who was our neighbor, lived down the street,
Uh-huh.
met his daughter. She was working at one of the sales selling.
Like the concessions or whatever.
Yeah, she
Okay,
was
okay.
selling merchandise, shirts, stuff like
Yeah.
that, because she's a soccer player too.
Cool.
And she told us that her dad, my friend Eddie, had cancer. And when she told us the type of cancer he had, I knew he wasn't going to be around much longer. So it was so ironic to gain a friend I haven't seen in 30 years and lose one all in a matter of hours.
Yeah.
We're sad.
Yeah. That doesn't like when that happened, those small moments, it doesn't make you question a higher power. So are you religious? What do you believe in?
I believe I can't wrap my head around. I went to Catholic school for 6 years, and the only thing I learned in Catholic school was how to take a beating.
Yeah.
So, I swore that I would never send my kids to a Catholic school ever. So, I don't know. I question, with all the insanity goes around in the world, all the death, starvation, all the idiots that are in office. I don't want to mention any names. How? If there is a God, then he's underperforming, okay?
But those small moments like that don't make you say, man, what if there is a God? Look, I get what you're saying. But at the same time, like it pop up in your head, like, is he playing with me? Is this
You know what? To me, it's just fate. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just some things that are meant to be. I don't know how you could put a spiritual thing on it. I mean,
Yeah, interesting.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you think there's a difference between fate and more like spiritual awareness?
Yeah. See, me personally, I don't believe in like structural religion.
What is
Going to a
meaning what?
church,
Okay.
because basically, I gave it a shot. I gave going to church a shot, and the thing is that the first time I went to a Christian church, I got up on the music. I thought the music was really good,
Mm.
and so and being a music lover all my life. That's what drew me to it. Not
Not the
holy
messaging.
rolling and
Okay.
blah blah blah. So I gave it a shot for a few years, and the crazy part about it, this church I was going to, the
You
pastor failed to pay. They had a school, they had
like
a
within
little-
that church, like a
It
school
was,
within that
yeah,
church?
it was connected to the church. They had.
So then kind of like Saint Cecilia's and stuff, like
Yeah,
okay.
it wasn't that big.
Okay, got it. Okay.
It was on a smaller scale. But they had employees and this and that, and they didn't pay any employees tax, payroll tax. They didn't. They had $1 million sound room with all this equipment for $1 million, but yet they failed to pay federal tax, employees tax, da 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 da. Next thing you know, hey, guess what? IRS, right? So here's these people, talking all this, religious stuff, and they're all tax cheats.
And they're not doing the job, their moral responsibility.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, morally, ethically, they're just yeah. So
That made you kind of
well, the
stray away in a sense.
not only that is that I realized that a church is a place for predators to find prey. Because there's a lot of people in the church, a lot of divorced people, there's a lot of ex-military people. So I would say a lot, but some
Yeah.
all walks of life, business people, whatever it is, their wife passes away, they divorced, this and that. And then, it works both ways. People who are not ethically or morally in line with what they're saying, and they find somebody who's vulnerable, and boom, next thing you know, somebody's embezzling money from your store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there you have it.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy.
Is that how you met your second wife?
No, that was number 3.
That was number 3.
Yeah, number 2 was my kid's mom, and she was honest as the day is long. No gray. There's no gray. Either right or you're wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Okay, so let's talk a little more about you. So you're a father, a grandfather, a husband.
Yeah.
What hobbies do you enjoy?
hobbies, man, I like working with plants. Some plants. I have some plants at the house. I like working with wood.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that pergola, like we talked about a pergola. He built that. It
Yeah.
was insane. I can't believe he built that.
Yeah, I prefabbed it all on the ground. It took me and my sons like 3 hours to put it up.
Yeah.
So that worked out pretty good. That kind of stuff. I go, in my lifetime, I did a lot of things. I worked in factories, high voltage cable factories. I worked 8 years of like high rise construction, doing glass work. So I got to learn how to use hand tools, stuff like that.
You feel like working jobs like that helped you as you got older with your home ownership and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because, unless you want to pay somebody to come and, pay them $1,100 to put in a water heater, have a nice day. You need to do that stuff by yourself. You need to paint by yourself, use a drill. When I was younger, and the school I went to, the elementary school I went to had wood shop. So
The elementary school?
yeah. So I had 2 years of 7th and 8th grade wood shop. And then I got to high school and had, I don't know, at least 2 years more of wood shop.
And that was a choice when you went into high
Yeah.
school, like you chose that elective?
Yeah.
That's
It's
cool.
a-
That's really cool.
Yeah. So in my garage, I have a ton of hand tools, my drills, all kinds of saw. And one thing everybody should own is a Dremel tool. Dremel tool will get you out of a tight spot, broken screws, whatever it is, because you can cut them.
That's good to know. I need to invest.
Yeah, everyone should have a Dremel tool in their toolbox. And then they came out with this other beautiful thing called the Dremel saw.
Okay.
So
I'm like, I have no idea what that is.
yeah. Anyway, the benches I made? I made 2 benches. Well, let me go back. Let me backtrack a little. When I first moved in with your aunt, she had a wooden deck in the back.
Correct.
Well, the wooden deck was, rotting, warping.
Deteriorating, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So we decided to put a slab.
Yes.
And we found a couple of guys that they did a 6-inch slab. And so all the wood from the deck, I salvaged it, cut off all the rotten parts, this and that. And I made shelving out of it. It was 1 by 2 by 6s, I think. 2 inches wide, 6 inches.
Oh, okay. So
So your aunt could put all her collectibles on it.
Mhm.
Oh, I made that out of it, with the tools that I had. And your uncle, Wendell, he had a bunch of stuff. That man, he was the sheetrock screwingest person I ever met, because all the screws that he used, I didn't have to buy the screw for years. And I'm not kidding you when I say that. And he had some tools too. Like he has an electric stapler.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So works really good.
Thank you, Uncle Wendell.
Yeah, I know. You know what? I mean, screws, nuts, bolts, and other stuff that he just had,
Yeah.
And I have 3 dogs that I take to the park every day.
Okay, so that's a hobby. You like walking with them?
Yeah, I take them to the park every day. I take them to one of the parks I think there's Comanche Park in Nacogdoches. Oh, a couple of years back, maybe about 3 years ago, the parks people came and they cut a bunch of cedar trees, branches, logs this big, this and that. So I kept walking past this pile of wood for months, and they just stacked it up and they left it there. So I got the hankering to make a cedar bench. So I drove up there one day, opened up the back of the SUV, took every log that they cut. I managed to fit into that car.
Wow.
Drove it all home.
It wasn't messing with your allergies? You're not like with the cedar? You were fine?
Nah, yeah.
Wow. Good.
I wound up making a cedar bench out of it. But in order to do that, I had to get a bandsaw.
Yeah.
So I added a bandsaw to my
Collection.
of tools.
That's right. We talked about this.
So I made a cedar bench. And I had another bench from this store I used to have before I got swindled out of it by my third wife, who's basically embezzled money for a year, embezzled the sales tax for a year. And then the fine Christian woman that she was, and pastors from Wisconsin swore that she was this great Christian woman. Sociopath, turned out to be a sociopath. So anyway, so I wound up closing the store, and I took a bench. There was a bench that I bought for these people that had the store before me,
Mhm.
and I brought it home, and it was nice. I don't know what kind of wood it was made out of, but eventually over the years, the legs rotted. I was trying to find some way to get cedar logs to make new legs and posts, and I couldn't do it. I mean, I couldn't find it. The parks people didn't help me out by cutting. So,
Right.
the parks now are just, there's dead, there's wood trees that have fallen down. There's a lot of wood just laying on the
Yeah.
ground. So one day I was leaving the park with the dogs, and a park policeman was parked there. And I asked him if I could bring a chainsaw and cut some wood because I needed to make some legs.
Yeah. For your bench.
So he says, yeah, he had no problem with that.
Really?
Yeah. So it was kind of crazy.
That is really, yeah.
So boom, started up the chains, went to the park, and by a miracle, the chainsaw started, cut a bunch of nice pieces of fallen down timber, brought it home, and took all the bark off, which is like time consuming thing. Cedar is really time consuming. And this was the oak that I got, and it was less time consuming than cedar. But the thing about doing that is that once you take the bark off and you clean the wood and all the beautiful decorations that the woodworms make in the wood, it's decorated. You don't have to do anything on it. Only thing I did was polyurethane it.
Wow.
You could stain it. I stained the pecan one.
The wood that you got me with the termite stuff, with the termite lines.
Yeah.
What wood is that?
That was pecan. That was cedar.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Say so. The hands, the hand rests, and the backs, and the legs.
You got a pretty expensive hobby. I guess we'll label carpenter under grandparent.
The cedar one was, I think the logs were this big. It was like 9 inches
Yeah.
thick. That's why I needed a bandsaw. And a bandsaw is without a bandsaw, there's a lot of things I wouldn't have been able to do.
Well, those are interesting hobbies that those dogs keep you kicking.
Yeah. Plus, the thing about it is like the one where I made out of oak. I used a chisel and chiseled the grooves. I put the
Backboard on
the
it?
backboard, the 2 backboards where you lean back on.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're chiseled
Wow.
in there, so they fit in.
Wow.
Yeah, it looks really nice. The other bench I bought was
So if you chiseled that,
that.
would you say you have patience?
Gotta have patience to do all that.
Yeah.
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 Right now I'm doing about 1930s or 1940s. I don't know what was the cabinet thing you got going there?
It's an entertainment center kind of thing.
Oh, it's an
It's an entertainment.
How are you gonna ask her and then say no? What is
Because
it?
I think an
No.
entertainment center is a big square thing.
No, this is a small 19.
Yeah, it's a 1940s piece of furniture that was that had veneer. It had veneer on it, the whole thing. But half the veneer was peeling off. So I figure it's been laying in my garage, taking up space. I want it out.
So would you say you're creative? Like you enjoy like for example, taking randomness from the park and creating something for yourself?
Yeah.
Would you say you really
Yeah.
enjoy that?
Yeah, that's why I mean, some people paint, some people sculpt, some people work with wood, some people cook. It's all an art form, all of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for y'all, I don't know that I spent 32 years cooking for a living.
What was the hardest part about that job
Cooking,
besides standing?
by standing, hey, sucked. Pay in San Antonio sucked. Can I say suck?
Yes.
Sucked. I got out of construction in 87. No, 89. I got out of construction in 89 because in 1987, the oil industry in Texas bottomed out. So there was like no more construction. All the buildings in San Antonio that were already built, people weren't leasing them. It was kind of like a recession here. And when I was much younger, in my late teens, early 20s, I always liked cooking. So when the oil industry bottomed out and I was unemployed, I got myself in gear, went back to school, got a degree in culinary arts from St. Philip's College, and the rest is history.
So if the pay was awful, you
It was-
then did it because you were passionate about it. You enjoyed it so much that you stayed and
Yeah,
continued to pursue it.
yeah, it was a creative outlet that I had.
Yeah.
And construction was kind of the same thing. You did I was a union glazer. We did high-rise glass work. So I worked on pretty much most of the tall buildings in San Antonio. So when I drive around town, I go, oh, you see that over there? Yeah, did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess in a way, even though you're not creating anything, everything's already been laid out by architects and, project managers and all that stuff. You get to install it all, the entranceways and
Yeah.
all that, do all the high-rise glassware, all the insulation, that kind of stuff.
Being a chef, what was now that was the downside, right? So what was your favorite part about that?
My favorite part about being a chef, met a lot of really great people, a lot of really good chefs in San Antonio. Governor Richards,
Interesting.
yeah, when the Alamo Dome opened, and then they had their NAFTA. I was working at the Plaza Hotel, which was like a 3-diamond hotel. All fine dining. And the chef, his name was Michael. He was a great guy. And he had an executive sous chef named Gary. Man, I was so amazed by that guy because he could cook anything. I don't care what it was, Japanese, Thai, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That guy could cook it. And they did great food. It was a fusion, East Asian and Southwestern fusion there.
What do you enjoy cooking the most? Like Tex-Mex, that Asian
Yeah,
fusion?
I like Southwestern food because I like the peppers,
Yep.
all the dried anchovies.
Yep, he does.
Yeah, that I like. There's something earthy about it,
Super good when it's not spicy.
Everything I cook is spicy.
But everything he cooks is spicy to me, so I don't know.
I
But
don't eat bland food.
yeah.
I don't do bland food. I did the whole gamut though. In the
Did you-
32 years.
Did you grow up cooking, or this is something that you
No,
picked up
I-
along the way?
I like cooking way years before I thought about doing it for a living. When I was younger, it was a good way to meet women. I could invite a young lady to their apartment and say,
Right.
hey, I can cook.
Right.
Why don't you come over for dinner? After women are looking at you like, yeah, sure, buddy, we got hot dogs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's always like for women. Can he really cook?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
So, plus I guess I tapped in early into the creative. I used to catch crabs, blue crabs, and make spaghetti sauce, crab spaghetti sauce
Where would you catch the blue crab?
in the bay.
Wow. Oh, that's right. You aren't born and raised here in Texas. Okay, so tell us, where are you from?
from a little town in the New York metropolitan area called Bayonne, New Jersey.
And knowing what you know now, coming to Texas, a little more urban area, would you raise your kids back where you lived, or were you satisfied raising them here in Texas?
If my kids grew up anything as like me,
It was good they came to Texas.
yeah, it was good. It was
Yeah.
good. You know, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I had so much fun in New York City. I mean, I lived right across the East River, pretty much.
Mhm.
It was like getting on a bus here and going downtown San Antonio. That's how close New York City was.
Wow.
So yeah, you either got on a bus or you got on a train, and in half an hour you're in New York City. So
You feel like growing up in areas like that, you were a more independent child?
yes, I was much independent. I started working when I was 14.
Wow.
I come from a dysfunctional family. Pretty much from the time I was 14, had money in my pocket. It was, let's have a good time. Growing up, when going to see live music was affordable, we went to concerts every weekend. As a matter of fact, you can ask your aunt. I had an hour and a half conversation with this AI bot about music last Friday.
Where, on your phone?
Yeah, like, it was
How
like,
did you do that?
well, I got on Facebook, you know, and there was a post, 1971, top 9 albums in 1971. So I said, okay, 1971, that's right up my alley. Man, out of the 9 albums, I used to own 6 of them. And the other 3, and more than the other 3 that I didn't have albums, I saw live.
Wow.
And of the 9, I saw more than 3 of them live. So I started getting in a conversation about music with this bot, and and I related some of my experiences. We used to go to concerts literally every weekend, but tickets were like $5.
So that was something that you really enjoyed when you were younger.
Oh, it was the
Y'all
best.
really liked to go to those concerts. Well, I guess because it was the 70s, right? So that was a big thing. Woodstock, did you do that?
No, I didn't go to Woodstock. Woodstock was jam and traffic.
Yeah, I know that the highway, yeah, the
My-
roads.
Yeah, my friend Stu.
Yeah.
He was going to go to Woodstock at the Jewish Community Center, but they canceled
Wow.
because of the traffic that was going there.
Oh, I didn't know it was like that. Wow, that's
Yeah, the
interesting.
traffic was backed up for like 20 miles, whatever it was.
Ugh.
It was great, but I would have loved to go there. Tell you, had a good time there.
Yeah, yeah. So being in an area like, what did you say, New Yorkish, New
Yeah,
Jersey?
New York metropolitan area, yeah.
What was the thing that y'all would do on the weekends?
Go to concerts.
Okay.
Pretty much every weekend. We used to go to this place called, it's not called the Academy of Music anymore, but that's what it was called then. It was like a rundown theater, the Majestic Theater, but kind of run down, like pretty much run down. But man, they had some of the best bands on the planet. And also the Fillmore East wasn't too far from there either. I had my first concert was Janis Joplin and the Chambers Brothers, Staten Island, of all places. In
Janice was good.
1968.
Yeah.
That was the first concert I went. I was hooked after that.
Wow.
Yeah. All through the 70s, all the way till I moved to Texas, pretty much 1980.
Mm-hmm.
Went to concerts, as many as I can go to. So some great band, Allman Brothers, Marshall Tucker, and
Yeah.
you
I mean, I
Led
don't know, but
Zeppelin,
yeah.
Led Zeppelin twice.
Really? That's
Rolling Stone.
interesting. Were concerts much different back then than they are now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
In what way? Is it like the culture itself?
Yeah, the culture itself. Plus, they allowed smoking. You could smoke in the theater.
Oh, I mean, you could probably take any drug,
So,
right? Back
Yeah.
then.
You see, the great thing about going to concerts in New York, there was 2 shows. There was a 7:30 show where all the boyfriends and girlfriends would go do all that.
Okay.
Nonsense, talk, not listen. They were doing this, kissy face, all that. But the people who went there for music, they went to the 11:30 show. Still started at 11:30 at night. And the band, and there's always an opening act and and a headliner. So I got to see bands play till 5 o'clock in the morning before it's like hit You're out of here. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Johnny and Edgar Winter played at 5 o'clock in the morning. So Peter Frampton, the album comes live, done live.
What did you sing these concerts up until, the next morning? What did you tell your mom? What did you There was no phone, right? There was
Don't know.
So how it was just, "Hey, I'm out for the night," and
Well, see, here's the thing. Yes, pretty much. I come from a dysfunctional family. So once I started working, I worked at 14, had money in my pocket. I was going to the bars in New York at 16 and Washington Square Park and smoking weed and whatever, and just having tons and tons of fun. More as much fun as a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid can get in.
yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, I guess it worked out. You're here. You're a great able body. You survived. So I guess.
Yeah, I survived. The only reason that I survived was because I got the hell out of there.
Yeah, you moved. Yeah,
I
you talked
moved.
about moving when you were younger.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
there was
Drugs were more easily accessible. You think
Well,
in an area like you lived compared to a rural
bunch
area?
of-
Yeah.
like some of my closest friends became methadone addicts
Mhm.
and heroin addicts
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So fortunately, the group that I hung out with, 29th Street, Bayonne, New Jersey, we didn't do any intravenous drugs. We smoked cash. We did acid like every weekend.
That's so interesting. 29th Street. So do you feel like every street had a different drug?
No, not a different drug. Every street had a different group, pretty
That
much.
is so interesting.
Like we had, we were the 29th Street
Yeah.
guys. 31st Street, they had their own clique, different areas of
Mhm.
the town. So on 29th Street, you know, we didn't mess with, I messed with it twice.
Yeah.
Did methadone twice. Through friends that I knew that said, "Hey, Rich, come on. We're going to go and score some methadone." Methadone, yeah, man. Come on, check out my friend Phil. He's the one that turned me on to it. Phil wound up dying from methadone overdose. And so we went, and back then there used to be this biscuit with a cross in it. So you cut it 4 ways, 4 pieces. Said, do a half. You'll be all right. So I did half methadone. Man,
Days.
2 days. I took 2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
Nobody noticed you were high? Your
Well-
brother, your mom, your friends?
Man, if I could relive the 70s, I would do it all over. I do. Honestly, I couldn't wait to get out of there.
That's good.
This self-survival thing was going, man, you need to get out. You need to go, go, go.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you ain't going to make it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get trapped. Freddie disappeared for 8 months in the bowels of New York, strung out.
Strung out.
Yeah, it's really sad.
I mean, it's a good thing you made it out. You make the right choices because here you are. So that's good.
What do they say? When it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
Mm.
There you go.
Yep. You got children, you're a grandfather. So that's
Man,
good.
6 beautiful granddaughters.
Okay.
One just got into nursing school.
So let's talk about that. So you're a grandparent.
Yeah.
What is the best part about being a grandparent? And I heard this from somebody. I asked another individual, and he actually said he loves his grandkids more than he loved his kids because he felt like he was living through his kids. Whereas his grandkids,
I can relate to that.
he feels so comfortable. They come up to him and they'll talk mess about the children and stuff. So he enjoys that. That's what he loves. He feels more connected to the grandchildren than the children.
Yeah.
And he can't
Because it's
explain
less
it.
stress.
I think that's what it is.
It's less
Yeah.
stress because you don't have to worry about their education. You don't have to worry about, whether they're eating.
Right.
That's the parents' job. So all I get to do is go do fun things. Go to the rodeo,
Yeah.
watch them play soccer. My little granddaughter, the youngest one's playing soccer. Jackie, who just turned 9, I can't believe she's already 9 years old.
She's already 9.
Yeah, Emma's 7 and Jackie's 9. Her birthday was April 6th.
Wow. I feel like just yesterday I was trying to teach little Emma a handshake. And now she's 7. That's crazy.
She's 7, yeah. She's playing soccer. Jackie's playing volleyball, So, yeah, they're awesome. And then I have 3 older ones, 23, 18, and 21.
You feel like your kids relate more to you and your parenting style now that they have kids? Like, have y'all ever had
Maybe.
those conversations? No.
No, but you know what? I think they were better parents than I was to my kids. They were better parents to their kids than I was. Coming from a dysfunctional family and stuff like that, and
I
you
think
know,
just a different
and,
world
you
too.
know, my dad was an alcoholic, so your thinking pattern is different. They fortunately grew up in somewhat of a normal household. I was really surprised and loved how they raised their kids, because I never got that kind of nurturing. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. My dad was like, yeah, I don't know. He was pretty violent.
I mean,
And
his brain is probably was so wired differently if he was an alcoholic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, not that he used to beat us or anything, but he was verbally abusive,
So do your kids ever ask you questions like, "Hey, Dad, when do I need to have the birds and bees conversation?"
Yeah.
Hey, they really do it all. Really do it all on their own.
Yeah, because things are different now. Back
So
then,
different.
when I was, now you have everything is out there and on the internet and this and
Yeah.
that. And, back in the 60s, I can remember back in the 50s, some of it, and the 60s that, well, child abuse, child predators and stuff like that. I'm sure they existed, but you didn't know. It seemed like it was a much safer time. So now, to their credit, they teach their girls from an early age how to protect yourself, not to talk to strangers, this and that. And, a lot of awareness, self-awareness of your environment, stuff like that. Like growing up in the New York metropolitan area, that's one thing that you had to be aware of everything that goes on around you, because there's so many people and everything moves at a much faster pace. That's a skill.
Yeah.
That's a
Awareness.
skill.
Yeah, that's a
You
skill
know,
to have.
I could see it coming from blocks away. Some people can't.
Environment. Yeah.
In a different environment. They don't have that self-protection, I guess. That's why, I don't give a crap, because back then I didn't give a crap,
Yeah.
so
So what is your proudest childhood moment that you can share?
my hardest. I was on a Little League All-Star team, like they have, I played 3 years of Little League. Made the All-Star team the last 2 years. And I was a pretty good pitcher. In one game, I struck out 17 guys
Oh.
in one game. 17 out of 21.
Sure.
And it was kind of interesting because, whoever's the coach, the all-star team coach, usually starts his players, So there was this guy, Skippy, he was the left-hander. And he was a good pitcher, and this and that. But some people thought I should have started the game, the all-star game. We wanted to lose.
Brought in
But
just
anyway.
himself or brought in more runs?
Hey,
Brought in himself or brought in like more runs with him when he hit the home run? Do you remember?
no, yeah, no. It was a pretty close game. We might have lost by 1 or 2 runs, so there might have been somebody on base. I don't really remember. But all I know is that the guy that was pitching against us, he was a left-hander too. And I can't remember what position I was in the batting order. I was a pretty good hitter. I hit only one home run. It was the last regular season game. I hit a home run. Oh, that actually went over the fence. I just hit line drives to the gap.
Really? I mean, that's not bad. That's pretty consistent. Line drives to the gaps.
Yeah.
That's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Did you keep the ball? Like, did somebody go get the ball when you hit that home run? My first home run, when I hit it, my dad just screamed, and he was the one that ran out there to go get that ball. That's for sure a memory I remember. He was just very excited for that.
So I enjoy that. I always played sports when I was younger. So football, baseball, softball, gloves. So I was a cleanup hitter on my softball team.
If you could play any sport and be super good at it, what sport would you play?
Probably baseball.
Yeah, you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like playing football because I like it. So, back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was always fun. But yeah, I play baseball.
Okay. Well, now we're going to play a little game. It's going to be a trivia game.
Uh-oh.
and he's gonna do great. These questions are like questions from Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? So you should be good at this. You should be good at this. So I have a
I wasn't very
whiteboard.
good in the 5th grade.
So I have a whiteboard. So just in case it's a
I get a
spelling
board.
question, or just if it's like it's a math question. So
All right.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited because you're married to a teacher, so you better get these right.
I don't know.
Okay.
I just don't know. We'll see.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
So this one is, you want to do second grade math or you want to do first grade math?
I don't care.
No, you have to choose. You have to choose.
Oh, wait, no, let's go 2nd grade. Let's go to the
Okay. What number is the Roman numeral XVI?
16.
Yes, sir. I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
2nd grade knows that?
But they're supposed to know that. I didn't think they're gonna know that.
See, that's
Because-
why I went to Catholic school. You know, or anything there. Should I take a whooping?
Okay, let's do third grade history.
History.
No, actually, we'll do second grade. We'll do second grade
Oh.
because you should know this
Yeah.
because you're a big history buff. Okay, Italy, Japan, Germany alliance was called what during World War II? Remember, this is
Axis.
axis of what? Second grade history. I did not know this answer. Italy, Japan, Germany alliance was called what during World War II? You have the axis of
Yeah.
blank.
Axis.
The axis of E.
Oh, axis of evil.
Okay, I'm only gonna give you 5, so you're 2. You're 2 for 2.
Right.
Kind of. I'll give you that one. Give you
You got
that one.
half right.
You got half right.
You
Yeah.
gotta
yeah.
have a point.
Okay, let's do third grade English. So it should be super easy. Okay. And this is part of the story with all the action or a big twist in a story is called what?
Action. Verbs.
So in a story, the part with the action or the big twist is called what? Third grade English. Ain't that crazy?
The action and a big twist, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's called what? Drama.
Your wife got it.
She did?
She did.
She's the teacher. 3rd grader.
Lock and answer it, and then we'll go from there.
The action and the big twist. Plot.
Going locked in?
Sure.
You're incorrect. It is climax. It is climax.
I'm trying to whisper it, but you.
Okay, science. Are you ready?
Science. Okay.
Science. Let's do second grade.
2nd grade science.
When a living thing makes more of its own kind, it is called reproducing, reducing, or recycling.
Reproducing.
Is that final answer?
Final answer.
Locked in? You're solid. That is it, sir. If you got that wrong, I'd be very upset. I said, if you got that wrong, I would have been like, rich. Anyway. All right, geography. Last question. Are you smarter than a bit?
Last one?
Last
That's only
question.
4. What happened to 5?
Oh, that was only 4? Okay, then I'll give you 2 more.
Geography. Germany.
Geography. And this is second grade, which North American city has a bigger population? Los Angeles or Mexico City?
Mexico City.
Final answer?
Yeah.
You locked in?
Yeah.
That is correct. Good job, sir. Okay, these are pretty easy. Look, these are pretty easy for you. Some people got stumped. Like, there was quite a bit of people that got stumped.
Wow.
Okay, this is geography, 4th grade. What is the largest desert in the world?
Largest desert in the world. Sahara.
Final answer?
Finally.
In Africa.
That's the Sahara.
That is the Sahara. Good job!
All those trivia things I do every day.
I just remember watching Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, and I got stumped on most of those answers. I felt like when I was watching that show, so I thought it'd be fun to bring it over here in trivia.
You know what? I do that. I do a quiz every day.
I know you're super into trivia, yeah, but like I don't want to do Jeopardy trivia. I feel like Jeopardy trivia is super hard. Would you be interested in Jeopardy trivia?
Sure, why not?
Okay, perfect. He didn't even need the board, people. He didn't even need the board. But okay, I guess that wraps up the pod.
So, well, see y'all.
Do
Nice
you
talking
have anything to say? Maybe like a question for the next guest?
to you.
It could.
Well, who is the next guest?
I don't know yet.
Question for the next guest.
It could just be anything. Like maybe about their life, maybe about politics, maybe about the world, maybe about work.
Let's talk politics.
Let's not talk politics. We'll be here for another hour.
Oh, you be having a long. Once I get on the road.
Next time I'll have you back on the pad. We'll talk about politics. That would be a good conversation. Yeah.
Because, we're in a constitutional 5 alarm crisis.
It's been pretty bad. My stocks are just up and down. It's been awful. I've been getting nervous every day.
My oldest guy,
Hmm.
I think he took like $34,000.
Yeah, see, I'm not taking that big of a hit, but I took a hit, but I'm okay now.
It's clown car, the circus.
Huh.
Boy,
Okay, let's
all,
make
the-
it on the
all,
topic.
the- all these people who didn't vote, 36 million people did not vote.
Okay, what is the question for the next guest?
The question for the next guest is, well done or medium rare?
Interesting. That's good. That's good. That's good. Alrighty, folks. I guess we'll catch you later. Y'all have a great day and make sure you go to the gym. All right. Bye.